Hello, Caroline. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Chris. Thanks for having me.
You are welcome. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. How's the family? Your weather over there? Good, good?
Well, the weather, apart from snow yesterday, that's
Yeah.
Canada for you in May,
Mhm.
things are good. Listen, considering the circumstances, I can't complain. Family's good as well.
Very good. It's good to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on board. So Caroline, you've done so wonderful things. Originally, you were from Lebanon. If that's correct, yes?
Yes, exactly. I was born in Beirut.
Beirut, amazing. And also, at the age of 15, you went through the war process, and from there you moved to France, and from France you moved to Canada, if I'm
That's
right.
correct. Yes, yes. It's been quite a journey, let me tell you that.
It is. So, the reason I'm pouring this out is just for our viewers here in Ireland, so they can understand what the guest is, just to kind of give more insight. So, let's talk about your journey. When you were young, 15, you lost your parent. There was no money. There was nothing at all. How did you manage yourself through that journey?
Well, I actually didn't lose my parents. They're still alive, but I left my parents. Now they're living here in Canada, and so I'm very fortunate. But at the time, I decided to leave Lebanon, war-torn Lebanon, and that was at age 17. I moved to Paris, where I put myself through school, and I had 2 jobs. Quite frankly, Chris, I'll say this, and I think it's very pertinent during these COVID days. You don't know how strong you are until you have no other choice. So, I know that a lot of adults around me were a little bit concerned about the decision I made, obviously including my parents, but my parents knew that I was better off on my own in Paris. They trusted me to do the right thing. Than being in a city that was being, shelled by bombs every day, and it was really, really unsafe. So I think that these years in Paris were extremely formative. This is where I built my courage, I built my strength, I came out of my comfort zone, I overcame so many obstacles that my resilience through these years really became something central to who I am, to my personality. And today, as a leader here in Canada, I can safely say that a lot of the things that I've been successful in are in good part thanks to what I've lived during the war in Lebanon.
Now, let's talk about what you're doing right now. It has to do with equality, especially for women in the workplace. That is one of the most aim I believe your organization is doing right now, if I'm right, yes?
Exactly. So Women in Governance, what we are working on, and it's been 10 years, 2020 actually marks our 10th year anniversary, is we're working, yes, it's unfortunate that it's in this crazy COVID situation, because our global summit, our 2020 10th anniversary was going to be a major global summit, which we've had to unfortunately cancel. But our goal is to close the gender gap in the workplace, and we've been working with major companies across the country to support them through a parity certification, which we've built, that helps the organizations bring more women to decision-making bodies, and also bring more women into industries that have been traditionally male-dominated.
Amazing.
And we're now actually also launching, we launched in February in the United States.
Wow, you're moving so fast,
Exactly.
So, do you often go back home to see families and things like that?
Unfortunately, I haven't been back in 10 years. So the past 10 years of building Women in Governance have been very demanding. And I've been doing tremendous traveling, global traveling, India, Russia, France, the UK, Iceland. So it's been extremely demanding on my schedule and on my work. I think the positive from COVID in my world is that I've been doing so many interviews globally through Zoom, and staying in the comfort of my home and seeing my family and spending time with my loved ones. I'm actually enjoying this.
That's good.
So 10 years without visiting my country, Lebanon, which I
Yeah.
was supposed to go. I was invited by the Canadian ambassador to Lebanon, Emmanuel Lamoureux, an exceptional woman, to give a conference organized by the World Bank and the Canadian Embassy in Beirut.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that got canceled as well. So
Yeah. I mean, you're doing good things, and I'm so happy for you that you're doing this, and today we're talking about it. I just want to chip something a little bit more when you know, when we migrated from maybe from a different country to a different country, how we utilize ourselves to become somebody as we kind of integrate into society. It is amazing. So, your own side of things, I listened to some of the things you were talking about, you know, integration, you're talking about migration. So, can you share a little bit more for our viewers here that when you migrate to a different, you can make yourself become useful. You can create something better for yourself. You can utilize your skills, especially for women, especially that your organization stands for. Give us more insight on that.
Thanks for this question. It's extremely important, and I think one of my biggest pride is to know that I inspire a lot of people who are going through a hardship, who are leaving their homes behind, moving into a new country where they don't have a network, they're not established, they're looking for a job, they feel helpless. And I think it's very, very important to understand that one of the key ways to get out of a sentiment of misery is to actually help someone who really is in misery, someone who doesn't have a shelter, someone who doesn't have food. So I got involved very young in major organizations for the for the well-being of women, and in doing that, it gets you out of your own navel and focused on somebody else's needs. It helps you build a network of people in the new city that you've moved in. It helps you also, feel that you are needed, that you can contribute and have an impact on somebody's life. It's extremely important to help you rebuild your self-confidence. So a lot of associations, depending on what your country of origin is, but most countries have associations, like the Lebanese Chamber of Commerce in my case, or various associations for the integration of people of different backgrounds and origins. And this is a good place to start as well. So if you find it difficult to integrate the corporate world, you can also think of ways that you can build your own business, be an entrepreneur. So there are countries where it's easier than others. I can tell you in Canada and in the US, it's a wonderful. These are wonderful countries for people who want to build something for themselves. The dream, that famous dream of becoming someone who can have it all. I think
have it all, like you do.
I think it's feasible. It might be a little bit harder in Europe. But certainly in North America, it's something that anybody can achieve.
Can achieve, right? So, Carol, we're still gonna have you right here. We're just gonna go on a quick break there. When we come back, we're still gonna have you. All right, viewers, on stage for more of the show. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Thank you. Hello, welcome back. As always, my guest here on the show is Caroline Codsi. She is the founder and chief equity officer of Women in Governance. Thank you so much, Caroline. It's good to have you on the show yet. So as we were talking earlier on, you've given us everything about equality. You've given us everything about yourself, your families, your country, integration. You've given us everything, So let me come back to yourself. How are you coping right now with all of these pandemic going on around the world? Tell us about yourself, man.
Well, first of all, I think I have a bit of practice, unfortunately, of staying inside from the years that we were living through the war and having to be cautious. The difference, I would say, is that at the time we knew who the enemy was. And today, and this is something I don't appreciate, is that we have to be careful of others. And my energy comes from others. I need to feel and touch and be with others. So that I'm finding a little bit more difficult. But I have to say we're extremely fortunate at Women in Governance that we were able to maintain our team of 10 staff. There's just one person who runs our events. who is temporarily changing roles into marketing. But other than that, we're very lucky because the corporate world is all those organizations across Canada that have been supporting us. Many of them keep supporting us through the crisis. Our Canadian government has been unbelievably supportive as well, so that we can continue what we're doing and we can come out of the crisis with the team intact. A lot of our staff members are very, privy on everything that has to do with parity and bringing that to organizations. We've done so much work with our parity certification that if we had to start over again and training new people, it would be very complicated. So I have to say, we're doing well. Most of our services are now offered online, and we'll get through this.
Hopefully. Just one more thing before you go. You were among the World 100 women. How did you get into that? Tell us about it.
Into the top 100 most powerful women?
Yes.
Yes, so that was extremely touching for me because it happened almost to the day 25 years after I moved to Canada.
Wow.
So it was sort of a symbol, and it was at a time where there was a lot of criticism around too much immigration and what do migrants bring, etc. So I was proud to say, well, you know what, there are some immigrants, a lot of immigrants across the country who have really helped the country move forward. And so I can safely say that our work with the Canadian government, closing the gender gap in Canada, has been instrumental in making Canada, a beacon in that field. So yes, a lot of pride, and especially for my parents who were so concerned about, changing countries. I think that we can safely say that immigrants have a lot to bring to a country of this magnitude.
Wow, amazing. I wish you were on my talk show. I would say, hey, and applaud for you on that, But thank you so much, because you're doing us proud as well. It is not really easy when you have to move from home. Nobody, nothing, no money. You go through war processing and everything. And look at you today. You're true, a living, proud woman. And I hope other women can really get more inspired by your work, by your inspiration, and for the future of the young girls that are coming in. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. Just before you go, tell us your website, please.
Yes, so it's womeningovernance.org in French and English, and we are also very active on social media. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. So I hope that we'll have a big following from Ireland. We'll be very proud.
Hopefully someday you come visit us here in Ireland. We don't mind to host you when we all get back to normal, and maybe tour you around this place and see what the side of this world looks like,
Count on me, I'll be there.
Thank you so much there, Caroline. We appreciate that. And keep strong and keep doing what you're doing in giving women the strong voice that they need. And we will talk to you soon. Stay tuned. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. All right, viewers, this is where we're going to wrap this up. We'll see how more show coming your way. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this. Thank you.